Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was a fun start. As soon as I went to this cam, I got a blue screen of death. What? Those still
It's
exist?
unfortunate.
Yeah, what's up? I'm OMGPOP. This is Devm over here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here, Ami. There's so much that I want to explain behind the thought process of what I did in OCF, so I guess
Nice.
it will be fun.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still a little rattled just trying to get reset up from that crash. I think it had trouble initializing my webcam, and it just crashed. But like, how often do you even see a blue screen of death? You know, like the whole screen goes blue, and you get the white text. Oh man, it was miserable.
Yeah, hasn't happened to me in years.
I know, right? Me either. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, folks. What's up? Welcome to the show. We got the man himself, the OCF champ, JoJo, the damn evil vicious mouse, here with us. We're gonna do an interview, winner's interview. Operation Charlie Fox is in the books, and this dude right here, he won it all. So congratulations, first of all. I think I'm just gonna call you Devm because your name's a little bit difficult to pronounce.
Yeah. You tried it before, it didn't go well.
Yeah, it was a fail. So you want to tell everybody your whole name in Portuguese?
Yeah, sure. It's João Miguel Domingos da Rocha Marinheiro. Quite big.
Okay, gotta go again, man. Go again. One more time.
Okay. João Miguel Domingos da Rocha Marinheiro.
That
Quite
last
hard
bit
to pronounce for
is
Americans, I guess.
That last bit is just a bunch of syllables. I can't even make them out. You've got an intense name, man. But people call you JoJo or Miguel, like, for short, right?
Yeah, Marcus calls me Miguel.
He calls you Miguel. Okay, that's pretty easy. I think I'm going to stick to Devm. What's up, chat? Romeo's here. Complexity's here. Love Nest is here. Cookies and Cream. Bunch of wonderful Code2 community members are here to join us for this winner's interview. That's not right. That's not. There we go. That looks better. I had a nice little thing set up, but that all died with the blue screen of death. So why don't we just get right into this thing? First of all, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, are you going to school? You know, etc.
Yeah, I'm currently attending the science faculty of the University of Oporto. Studying computer science. So yeah, it's what I like.
Are you a coder? Do you code?
Yeah, it's not just coding. I guess you learn a lot there about computers. But yeah, it's all important for the programming, I guess. So
Yeah, I'm a coder myself. I studied computer science at college, UC San Diego. Let's see, what's your overall history in gaming? I mean, you play a lot more than just Company of Heroes too.
yeah, I know. I started playing Halo 1. I don't know if you know the game from Xbox. When I was about 7 years old, so it was pretty early.
What? Like
yeah.
online against other people? At
No,
7?
not online. I guess it was more of a thing with my brother and cousins. It was, yeah, it was like a family thing, I guess. And then it kind of evolved into PC gaming, Age of Empires, StarCraft, Command and Conquer. Some of those games, yeah. I used to play them a lot, yeah. And then my brother kind of introduced me to Company of Heroes. At the beginning, I didn't quite like it, but then I started to enjoy it, and from there on, it kind of, took wings. I started playing in the ladder and keep getting better, watching replays, watching Sepha. I remember watching a lot of the Seph playing, and I learned from him.
Yeah.
And slowly, I started to become a good player. So then it was just a matter of playing in attorneys and showing up.
Did you ever win any of those? Like, we used to do those $200 tournaments every 4 or 5 months.
I used to participate in some, but I don't think I won. I remember losing to German Supreme. Not sure if you remember it.
Of course, I remember. We started Reborn Clan together, German Supreme and I. It's funny to hear that name again. But then your greatest achievement in Co 1 was probably winning Sunday Night Fights Season 4, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. That was awesome. I had to rip you away from watching League of Legends Worlds today.
I still got the stream open, so.
Oh no! Oh my God! Close it, man! Come on, we want your full attention. He's like watching League of Legends on the side. But you're on a team, right?
Yeah, I am on the team.
A little bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So we are a Portuguese team currently in Challenger, which is the highest rank you can get on League of Legends. And we kind of participate in Portugal lands and sometimes go to some bigger lands like Dream.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you've played like on a stage? Or...
Yeah, I did. It was
really?
pretty awesome.
How is that? Were you nervous at first?
Yeah, definitely. It's it has a big crowd. It's completely different from playing it there than in your computer. You got to adapt to. You're not playing on your home computer. You got to play on the computer that they have there.
Oh yeah, right. But you bring your own mouse and keyboard, right?
Yeah, you do. But it's still a completely different feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure that pressure. I remember, Huck, speaking of old Reborn clanmates, Huck was a clanmate of mine, and we watched him transition into pro SC2.
StarCraft.
Right, and maybe you watched him as well, because everybody in the co scene kind of watched him do that, because it was really exciting, because we all knew him, and then suddenly he's like at IEM in Cologne playing against all these pros, and I just remember the first time he flew somewhere and played like live in a booth, he got destroyed. Like it didn't even look like him playing. He just got utterly destroyed because he just never done it before. He's a complete noob. But then, eventually he got used to it. He flew to Korea. He played it in GOM series, and then I think he won one of the Dream Hacks. I mean, he had an amazing career eventually. He won an MLG. So I guess
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really follow Huck that much after he left Company of Heroes. So
yeah.
I kind of went to his stream sometimes to see how he was doing. But that's all.
Yeah, yeah. But eventually, it's just something you get accustomed to and you get better at dealing with. Like it becomes the same. You just get used to it. So, but these are hurdles that I personally hope Company of Heroes 2 players will have to jump over eventually, because we would love to get some live events. We would love to throw all you guys into that situation, force you all to deal with it for the first time, see who handles it well. Yeah, it would be great. We're still trying. We're still working on it. It's still a possibility. So, I was just actually in a Skype call with Marcus yesterday with Relic, and we're trying to line up some stuff for the future. So we'll see what comes of that. But things are going pretty well. OCF was a pretty smashing success, and I think a lot of people noticed it. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about before we get. I really want to go through OCF and pick your brain about your strategies and tactics. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit more about your Co-1. When did you start playing Co-1? Was it soon after the release? Because it came out in like 2006.
It was like in 2007, 2008. But I think I did play it before. It was just like in campaign only, not online.
Yeah, that's how most people start. So what did you like about it? I mean, how did you get hooked on Co-1?
Well, first of all, I was pretty amazed at the graphics for an RTS game,
Yeah.
And then I really liked how you played with the troops, the cover system, and how the map was destructible. So you could have these like maps changing and the dynamics of how you fought in them changing a lot.
Yeah.
And that got me hooked in the game.
Yeah, there was nothing else like that. That was just totally brand new. And, I mean, we still love it to this day. And other RTSs have considered trying to bring that into their game features. And, it's like it only really works in Co and Co2. So it's something that we all enjoy. And so SNF4, that was a rough road for you. You never make it easy, it seems. SNF4, it took you 4 qualifiers to finally make it through to the semifinals, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you had been knocked out like 3 times before you finally got through. Did you play in all of the qualifiers?
Yeah, I did. But it kind of played into me because I got a lot of practice out of those games. So in the end, it paid off.
I remember your clanmate Aimstrong. He won in the very first contender bout, and then there was like 2 or 3 months that he just kind of waited as we found all the other contenders, and then you fought in every single qualifier. So every 2 weeks you were battling, and then maybe you would get to a contender bout and then lose it, and then you would come back again, and so you were like warm through the whole thing. And then when you finally met him in the semifinals, you beat him. Do you remember that series?
Yeah, I do remember, especially the moment where I got this sniper. I don't know in which game it was, but I chased this sniper down and I got him. It's kind of one of those moments that you don't forget, because a sniper is like a big unit, and getting the sniper in, especially in Vico where snipers were really important, it's really a big moment and it really swings the game. So I kind of remember getting a sniper. It was the moment that stuck with me.
That was so much fun. I mean, we made a brave leap as tourney organizers in SNF4 because we brought in those 2 custom maps. We'd been playing on Semang Lang for years and years, but we brought in Uncle Sam's Bois du Châtelet, and we brought in White Flash's Argenton Crossroads. And I think there were a couple finals games on Argenton, weren't there? It was just nice to have those new maps. And it's interesting that White Flash converted it to Crossing in Woods, and now Crossing in the Woods was played in the main event. I'm so impressed. And then, White Flash is making maps as well, and he's got a new 1v1 map and a 2v2 map, and hopefully those will go into Company of Heroes 2 soon. So these guys are still cranking out stuff, all these veterans from the original scene. Let's fast forward a bit to Company of Heroes 2. Let's fast forward to today. Like, how would you appraise the state of the game right now?
I think the game is definitely better than it was some years ago, but there's definitely a lot to improve on. A lot of design issues that the game has that really haven't been addressed, and I have talked about those in the forums. I'm sure you've read, and I hope Relic does read them and do something about it.
So why don't you go ahead and just say one off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, the commanders are pretty bad from the get-go. The problem with commander is that not only do you have like a commander that doesn't like have more choices, like a tree like you had in Vico, but the abilities themselves,
no left and right anymore.
Yeah, no left and right. The abilities themselves are kind of, I don't want to say bad, but it doesn't really promote good gameplay. For example, I pretty much could go using the Lightning War Doctrine, the one with the Tiger and close air support, like all my games, and it wouldn't have mattered, because that doctrine itself, it's so solid in every way that you really don't need anything else. So
kind of like shock rifle for Soviets. It's just you can just click it at the start, and then you can watch it auto unlock, and you don't have to make another strategic decision. And that's a problem, right? Because we want players to be forced to make strategic decisions all the way through the game.
That's right. I don't want to start like a Vico war here, but for example in Vico, picking a defensive doctrine it would play out in your gameplay a lot. Picking Terror 2, it meant you wanted to be more aggressive and maybe play for that late game.
Survived KT.
And in COH2, you don't have kind of that option there. You just pick what's best, it doesn't play on your mind games, on the game. So I think it should and can be improved a lot.
More decisions throughout the game with regards to commander ability unlocks would be great. I mean, I never understood why they did away with the left-hand tree and right-hand tree, because I always liked that you had to decide at each commander at each, you get 3 or 4 more CPs, and you got to decide, do I want the first left-hand side of armor, or do I, I've already got the right-hand side to 1, do I want to go to 2? Like the whole way you unlock that, even though there were only 2 sides, it allowed like dozens and dozens of different combinations of the way that you unlock them. So it wasn't just like one extra thing. It was actually a lot of extra decisions you had to make. So let's talk about, what do you like about KOTU?
Well, I think that the spectator, the live spectator thing was the best addition they could have made.
Obs mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else? I really like the unit variety that they have going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of different units, that's for sure.
Yeah, they have a lot of units. The problem is that that they are kind of badly put into the game. Like you got some useless units, but I think that with some changes to the game, they can make those units more playable, and maybe you can see a lot of unit diversity.
It seems like recently we've seen more diversity than, say, in like a year ago. So it seems like that's gotten really better. I was impressed by how much diversity we saw in OCF alone. I mean, we saw all 5 factions played. We saw lots and lots of different commanders picked. We saw all sorts of different build orders. So I think in that regard, it's in a healthy place right now, or at least the healthiest it's ever been. Let me just throw some quick questions at you. What's your favorite faction?
Well, I think that's going to be an easy one. It's USF.
Yeah, that's what I thought you might say. And what's your favorite map?
That would be Angoville.
Right on. And let's see, if you were in charge of the developers at Relic, what would be the one improvement that you would make from the get? Like, if you could have one dream improvement, what would it be?
Other than performance issues? I mean, I think it would probably be the commanders, really. Either that or change the design of the factions, of some of the factions. Because, like I have written before on COH2.org, there are a lot of balance issues that come from these design issues that they really don't want to address, because it takes more work to really design the factions again than to really balance the units out.
You got to give me an example though, because what you've said is kind of vague.
Yeah, like for example, the fact that Austere has the Grenadiers throughout the whole game, and you don't really have an upgrade for them available to you. They are the only long-range unit that you have on Austere, right? So Pigrans cover that low-range kind of part of the army, but you really have to stick with the Grenadiers the whole game, and what that means is that if you buff the Grenadiers too much, then Austere is just going to beat everything, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And if you nerf them, Austere is just really going to fall apart, because you are really depending on them throughout the whole game. So what I was suggesting was adding kind of the upgrade to them in tier 2 and move the Pigrans to a higher tier, like you had in Vic. More and more I think that they kind of did that on luck on Vico, because on Vico you had like this perfect balance going on where Volk's Grenadiers had a natural upgrade, which were Grenadiers, and you could kind of follow up the rifles on their scaling throughout the game by upgrading to Grenadiers and then vetting them up, and you
To
don't
bars,
kind of...
you mean? Or
I mean that you could upgrade Volk's Grenadiers to Grenadiers and then vet them up. And you could kind of follow the rifles in terms of vetting, because rifles could become really strong when vetted, and you have to invest for that. But in COH2 Austere, you really don't have to invest to Grenadiers to really be a super good unit, and that kind of creates a whole heap of balance issues, and it kind of makes new strategies for Austere be hard to execute, because you are probably going to be stuck with Grenadiers throughout your builds.
yeah.
So yeah, I would change that a lot.
I remember when KOTU first came out, one of the issues that a lot of us had was that there weren't enough global upgrades. Like, there weren't the kind of things that you could, like, there wasn't a supply yard. You couldn't upgrade bars. There weren't these kinds of things. And maybe they've solved some of those issues with the weapons racks and with the Brits and the way they have those kinds of upgrades. So it has gotten better. Let's talk about Operation Charlie Fox. You had an amazing run. You went all the way through the open qualification tournament, and then a week later in your first match in the winner's bracket, you get knocked down to the lower bracket by Paul. You get 2-0'd. by Paul and sent immediately down. And then from there, you're fighting for your life. In the lower bracket, you claw your way all the way back. You get into the final day. You defeat OMGPOP 3-2 in the losers bracket finals, an incredibly close series, and then you fight your clanmate and defeat OMGPOP 2-1 in that best of 3,
yeah.
And then you go on to fight your clanmate Aimstrong and defeat him 3-2. So 2 ace games in a row. That was like an amazing battle for you. Congratulations!
It was taxing, yeah.
I mean, how does it feel having won it?
It feels great. I mean, it feels like you are the best player around.
You are right now, man.
Von Ivan said it before in the stream that who won the tourney without the biggest E-pen, and it kind of is like that.
Yeah. We got your face now in SNF chat, man. That's look at that, check that out, man. SNF Devm right there. That's for time immemorial, hopefully immemorial. Let's see. You took home the largest cash prize this franchise has ever seen, over $2,700. Have you spent any of it yet? Do you have plans for what you might do with it?
No, not yet, but I do have plans to upgrade my my rig.
Nice.
To be able to play COH2 better. It's needed.
Yeah. So, like, what are you gonna get? For example, you won that graphics card in SNF 4. You're not still using that same card, are you?
I am.
You are? You used the card that you won in SNF 4 to win OCF? Are you serious?
Yeah, that's why I kind of want to upgrade.
That is so awesome, though, dude, man. That is awesome. I remember, that was the biggest portion of that prize. We were dealing with really modest prizes back then. I remember you took home that NVIDIA card. That's just amazing that it powered you through to victory in OCF. That's pretty cool. Let's wind it back to the Open Qualification Sunday. I didn't get to see any of your games then. I guess AE was following you, but then it was rough to follow you because your games would be so short and then you would wait so long. So, like, what was that like for you, that first Open Quali Sunday?
Yeah, it was kind of a pain. Yeah, my opponents didn't show up, and I had to wait a long time before that, and then I had to wait for my opponents to finish the other matches, and I just kind of ran through the matches when I had to play. So I had to wait a lot, and it's really annoying when you have to do that, because then you're not going to kind of be ready to the next game,
That's what you get for being so good, though, and ending your matches so quickly. Were there any difficult points the whole day?
I don't think so, no. I didn't get anyone that was like top 10, so I kind of breezed through it, in my opinion.
Yeah, you did. Your last series was against Vipux. Do you remember that series? Anything you want to say about that? He's pretty good.
I don't really remember his series. I remember.
It's all blur.
Yeah, it's all blur. The qualifiers wasn't really hadn't the best players for me, so I just kind of forgot.
No problem. So then after that Sunday, a lot of players were real tired out, and we had some casting marathons. It was pretty serious. But then, we had this hot fix because, we had this situation with the Vickers was bugged, so we had to ban it from the open quali. And so Relic put out a hot fix, and first they said Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, and then finally, I think Thursday it hit, or maybe Wednesday. And then Kotu.org had to then react to the hot fix, and we had this very difficult decision to make about which commanders we would let through and which ones we would ban. And the hardest of those, the absolute hardest of those, was real 50-50 down the middle between everybody I talked to, was Rifle Company. In the end, we wound up banning it, and that's kind of the company that I saw you using the most in Auto Match. How did that affect you when you heard that Kotu.org was getting rid of your favorite commander, perhaps?
Well, since considering like 99% of my USF games were with Rifle Company, it hit me pretty hard. I don't consider Rifle Company to be really that broken, so I can see the point of that the others made, like Jezelyn, but in my opinion, it's not really that game-changing. You have to commit to the doctrine right from the beginning if you want to really get that rifle call in to influence your gameplay, and then you don't have that kind of late game that, for example, or mid game that Armor Doctrine has. Because with the Armor Doctrine, for example, you can call the M10 if you are in a rough spot, and if he has vehicles like the Panzer Command Tank coming, and you don't really have the space to kind of to adapt, to commit to the rifle company. So I think that the ban on it was unwarranted. It kind of gave.
What about the rifle? What about flamers on 5-man rifle squads that can just deny cover in buildings on any map at that point in the game? I mean, you already have an incredible early game with USF.
Mm-hmm.
You already put the choke on people. Like, don't you feel that perhaps having flamers on a 5-man squad that can also buy free vet for like 20 extra manpower, elite rifles with flamers, don't you feel that's a little over the top?
Well, that's a design issue in my opinion, have rifles be able to have flamethrowers, but the flamethrowers did get nerfed, and I don't think they were over the top. And flamethrowers really you kind of have to put the rifle squad stopped in a position to get the flamethrower going, and that can really affect the sniper play, because you can't really flank it as well as if you had BARs. I don't know. I just don't find the
play, the ability to kill snipers.
Exactly. I just don't find the flamethrower upgrade at that point to be that abusive.
So, Romeo's here in the chat, and you have signed up for the Starcross Cup number 4, which starts this weekend, starts tomorrow. All commanders are allowed. Will we be seeing Rifle Company from Devm?
Yes, most likely.
All right. Cool. Well, I will look forward to witnessing those games. That's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys don't know about it, Romeo's Starcross Cup 1v1 tourney, no holds barred, starts tomorrow. He's got an in-game ad going. Thanks Relic for putting that banner in-game and flooding the traffic towards the sign-up sheet. Romeo, I think you got 40 or 50 new sign-ups today. It was crazy. So that's really cool. That should be a lot of fun. That starts tomorrow. Looking back at OCF overall, Devm, how do you have suggestions for how Kotu.org could have improved our actions as hosts, as tournament organizers? Like, how could we have done it better?
Well, I think that taking out the drama of the commander bans, that it should be worked on. I think when you have those qualifiers, that it should really be worked on. It went really badly, this one, and it really affects on how the tourney can go, because you can have a good player play for hours and then get dropped in the finals against someone that didn't have really difficulty getting there, so he wasn't tired.
Yeah, those open qualifiers definitely ran too long. I mean, we never expected to have 270 check-ins. That was like almost double what we expected. We expected around 150, and we wound up with 270, so we had to add a round on top of the round of 256. We originally declared that it would be an open tournament, so we didn't want to start, denying people the ability to play. I guess if we're going to have something that could get that big, we're going to have to either allow more time for it or force more best of ones or something. Question for you further in that regard is, how many games do you think is the maximum games a Kotu player should have to play in one day? Is it fair to say 3 best of 3s? So, you could play 9 games. Is that about a good limit, you think?
Yeah, I think that's about a good limit there. It doesn't really tax you that much, and it's not really a best of 5, so, I think it's doable.
Because in the open qualifier, Captain S. Price played 11 games. So I guess, the 10th and the 11th game is just way too much. So we would want to try to avoid that in any future event on any future single tournament day. So we did learn from that. Conversely, what was your favorite thing about OCF, not including winning all that money?
Well, first of all, I think that the choice of having that double bracket that you did was pretty good. And second of all, I know I really enjoyed the games themselves on OCF. So, I don't know. I think that best OCF thing was, I think it was really the brackets. You never did that before, and it really surprised me.
Yeah, it was fun. Kept you alive, that's for sure.
Well, but I always wait for the last moment to give my best. So
yeah, I guess so. Speaking of which, why don't we get right into the main event games and that first winner's bracket against Paul. What happened?
Well, it was kind of a coin toss. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes it happens that you have really bad games, not for a particular reason, but I was just off my game, Let's
take a quick look at the brackets so people can reorient themselves. If you check out the main event day 1, Insane Devm versus Hoi Paul AD is the third match down from the top, and Paul wound up 2-0ing you in that game. And I think all of us were a bit shocked. Nobody expected that. In game 1, you were USF, and he kind of stalemated you, I think. Like, you weren't able to do the sort of crushing knockout attacks that you usually do. He would just retreat. Like, anytime you got a leg up on him, in situations where normally you would wipe some squads, just destroy some units, steal some stuff maybe, he would just retreat all of his stuff back to the base, like give you some map control, and then push out again. He wound up going 5 Grenadiers with LMGs, and every time he pushed out, he took a lot of territory back because, like, those LMG Grens, they could win 1v1 skirmishes, and so he would push out like throughout Kolodny Ferma Summer, and he would take the map right back. And then he went CAS, close air support, to stop you from pushing. And do you think that you could have done better? Like, what would you have done differently if you had another chance at that game?
So many things. First of all, I was kind of, I was still experimenting with not having rifle company, so I was trying to use the assault engineer with the flamer, and it didn't go as well as planned. I didn't have as much pressure as I should have with the third rifle. And then I lost the rifle squad on retreat, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
he cut you off. This grand squad that you didn't think was there, like, cut the angle down and picked you off on retreat. I remember that.
But that was more a misplay of retreating too late, and that kind of affected the game far too much early on.
Put you on tilt a little bit, maybe?
Not really. I don't get much on tilt. It's not really...
Really? Come on.
Yeah, I don't really rage that much. And
really?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh man, I don't know how, like, Company of Heroes 2 players, it's like dealing with your rage is just a constant battle. Because there are things about the game that make you rage, like a bad RNG, wipe or something, or like you can kick yourself for retreating too late. Really? You don't rage at all? Come on.
Well, it depends on how big the luck is. If it's something big, like a tiger escaping because something didn't penetrate, then I might get a little bit mad, but not... rifle squads getting wiped on retreat, it doesn't really... It's more of a mistake that I did than luck. So I don't really get that upset because it wasn't a luck factor. So
I think the best players in these games don't necessarily rage, they analyze, and they're able to see, like, what could I have done better? So they, like, self-improve on the fly. I think a lot of players have problems doing that. They let their own, like, ego or anger, or they try to blame some other things, and they don't, like, really look at what they could have done better. And I think that's something that you and Aimstrong, particularly in OCF, were just amazing at, because you just, like, read the game how it was and figured out what you needed to do to win, and I was really impressed by that. But let's still stay here with Paul. And so game 1, your USF gets rebuffed. And then in game 2, you're the number 1 Wehrmacht player in the world, and so you're playing Wehrmacht against him, and he goes shock rifle, and his early game and his conscript play was pretty decent. He always had decent map control, but then it got towards the late game, and I have a clip here. It seemed like your whole house crumbled around you. So let's have a look at this clip of Devm versus Paul, winners bracket, round 1, game 2. We're gonna go check it out, how, like, it all came crumbling down for our champ. This might have been the roughest moment of your entire tournament here. Let's have a look at it. Okay, we're going over to YouTube, and I'm going to start playing. Oops, that's not the right key. There we go. Start playing right now. Flank, really? That's a ballsy move. That is a ballsy move. Look at all this
Goddamn, flicker
stuff.
off track.
He does just totally wipe the pack. That's what he wanted to do. He drops the incendiary. That's going to prevent Devm from re-running into the sniper. Walks right through the incendiary and dies. Oh my god, Paul's just getting everything he wants. The pack's down. That allows the T-70 to come in. The sniper's killed on retreat. These grunts are killed on retreat. Ouch. Now Devm's just in a frantic position. He walks his... Oh my god. Oh my holy smokes. It's just wipes
I rang my
city
bells,
up in
man.
here.
You know it's bad when the
These
bells
guys
ring.
walk right through the flames. Devm must be tasting the bitter acid feeling of defeat. He
don't know
just
how you
lost
taste the feeling,
so
but okay,
much
I mean.
stuff all in the same position. Look at all these bodies. Good lord. Sniper falls. Grens fall. More Grens fall. And Devm can only be kicking himself.
At that
because he
point, the
let all
game was
this
over
happen.
though.
Yeah.
And Devm's practically
I just wanna
cleared
show the
out.
nail
Look
in
at
the
his arm.
coffin.
He's got absolutely nothing.
Panzer Grens.
He's desperately trying to recapture this pack. Paul is just putting the pressure on. The pack's pointing, of course, absolutely the wrong direction. The T-70's going to work on it. He gets out of the cone of fire barely. He's just trying to pour as much damage in as he can. He's taking small arms fire from all these guys that can't afford to do anything, and he clears the pack amazingly, even with the damaged engine. The entire map's turning blue. Devm trying to get back on the pack, but of course, Paul has already kited it. Finally, I think the new pack from the base is able to put that T-70 out of its misery. But now we've got a much bigger problem. We've got a much bigger problem coming onto the field. This is going to be the checkmate unit right here.
There's a zoom for you guys.
Heads up, the
Reap it.
KV-8 is on the field. Cheeky demo destroys the Panzer Grenadiers. How much
You
more
and
can
your zoom
Devm
ins on the
take?
tanks.
Surely he wants to call it quits now.
Okay, that was a rough way to get knocked down. Now, after this happened, how did you recompose yourself? Because you had to, right after this, you had to play another match on that same Saturday, I believe, right?
Right. Well, it didn't really hit me that hard. Like, you know, how you know that you can beat the guy, but he just played super badly. That was basically what I had in mind. Like, I knew I could beat him in like 10 minutes if it needs to be. I kind of misplayed a lot on both games. For example, in this game that I was playing as Austere, I went with the Grenadier sniper opening when I never do that against Soviets because you just don't have the power to hold the conscripts early on. That's more of a against USF opening. And I just didn't think about it when I was playing the game. I was kind of unfocused. So yeah, I kind of lost it in the early game pretty quickly.
And so I guess so it didn't waver your confidence, even though you had been sent down to the bracket. And so when you went down, your first opponent was Korean Army. You 2-0'd him, and he's a tough player. We saw him give your clanmate Aimstrong some good games. But was that a relatively easy series for you? Do you feel like you just got right back on the horse and kicked ass and took names?
Yeah, I think it was an easy series to take on, honestly. I wasn't expecting Aimstrong to drop that first game. That kind of got me a bit scared that he was going to lose to him. But then he just came back.
So Korean Army beating Aimstrong once made you be like, wait a second. All right. Well, but you got through him. He was streaming the other day. I hope he keeps doing so. A lot of good Korean players are coming back. To mention, Condemnation Wings was in. He won those early KO2 tournaments, and I guess maybe he finished his duty, and he's coming back to the game, hopefully. Your next opponent was Jove. Here's a Russian player that is a very strong player. He 2-0'd Von Ivan to knock him out of the qualification tournament, and he 2-0'd Jezelin, our #1 overall seed, to knock him out of Operation Charlie Fox. How did you approach the series with Jove?
Well, I feel like Jove is one of those players that could have gotten to the finals. I don't even know how he got beat up to the loser bracket. So
I think Barton put him down there, actually.
yeah, I think it was
At 2-1.
Barton.
I still haven't gotten a chance to watch that series. I'm very interested to see it.
So I tried to go my full self on Jove because I knew that was going to be.
What does that mean? My full what is that? That's scary.
I know it's like my full focus on the game.
You turned
game
off the
one,
League of Legends stream, basically.
Yeah, I did. Basically, game one, it was a pretty close match, as you probably saw. And I was kind of afraid playing Exhaustia because I had played him before in auto match. And I don't know why he picked OKW, but he did, and it kind of ended in 15 minutes, first game.
Okay, and then in game two, you're playing Wehrmacht, and let's have a look at Romeo's cast of that game two, because that had a cataclysmic series of events that just blew everybody's minds. And I think
game one?
Is that game one? Okay,
yeah.
So this is the losers bracket, round two, game one. Devm versus Jove. Devm as Wehrmacht, Jove as Soviets, and cast by Romeo. I'm going to start that right now.
Right across the road, which could be very dangerous. These infantry and AT gun making their way up will start being engaged by the sniper. This KV-8 pulled back to safety. Both of these now are going to re-engage. The minesweeper is currently not nearby. I hope he didn't forget about that teller mine right there. Oh, I think he's going to hit it. Or maybe he's going to skirt around by it. He's going to have to micro this very carefully. Panther moves up on his flank. AT gun has been cleared. Anti-tank grenade right there. And the double Panzerschreck squad just did a huge volley of damage. Oh no! Panther's going down so quick. I don't think that will escape. Panzerschrecks miss and bounce. AT gun shot bounces. Is trying to pull back to safety. The command tank is trying to move up the screen and push off some infantry forces. Do what it can. The M5 is trying to keep the Panther interested, I guess. Maybe try and get it to stick around. No, we'll pull back to safety, but I don't think it matters. How many Shrek shots will bounce off the front armor of this thing? I don't think there's any real chance of it getting away, but I think I've just seen 5 anti-tank shots bounce now off the frontal armor of this Panther. Will it really survive?
Nope.
It will really survive. I can't believe how many bounces I just watched. Can anybody tell me what the % chance of a Shrek penetrating a Vet 1, I guess?
We gotta ask Jove if he raged.
At maximum ranges, does anybody know what the odds of those bounces are? Because, wow, I am astounded that just happened. Another AT grenade right there on the command tank. This KV-8 falling low. A Puma has been fielded. Oh, the shot just barely connects. And a KV-8 gets penetrated by a Puma at max range despite 5 Panzerschreck shots bouncing off the frontal armor of a Panther. And now this Puma has destroyed both heavily damaged KV-8s. I can't believe that this is happening. What a horribly unfortunate turn of events for Jove. His M5 also being gunned down by the Puma. It is wreaking havoc behind enemy lines before heroically erupting in a column of flames.
the Puma got 2 KV-8s and the M17. Talk about call-in timing.
Well, I knew that I was going to need a Puma right after he began the all-in on the middle part of the map, so I just thought the Puma would be a good choice there, and it actually kind of won me the game.
And how about your Panther?
Well, he had got lucky before. My P-Grand squad got wiped and dropped 2 Shreks, so it was kind of eye for an eye.
By the cutoff point at the haystack, I remember that. Yeah. And
so he got lucky too.
He captured the 2 Shreks, and then what do you mean lucky that he got the wiper? Because I remember you.
No, that was a misplay, but lucky that I dropped the 2 Shreks.
Oh, okay. Just that they actually dropped on the ground. He was able to capture them. I get it. Yeah, an intense series. Great cast by Romeo. We look forward to more of that action on this weekend. After Jove, it was Love Nest. And what stood out for you fighting against the number 2 seed, my German friend?
Well, I think that the USF game that I played against him was the one that stood out for me. He was pretty close to winning that game. I did some very bad choices in in that game, which kind of cost me the momentum.
Wow. So I should
Um,
watch that. That was a good game.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
So
check that out.
I had to kind of play for the mid-late game, and I just went for the Sherman spam, so I could, because he was going for a heavy tier 2 play. So
I love your
did-
Sherman spam, man. I love it. I would pay to see it, man. That sounds great. So,
So I
with all
just-
the Shermans, you were able to overcome him, or what?
Yeah, basically I flanked these backs, and then he had no reliable AT gun to get my Sherman, so I just kind of snowballed it from there.
Nice. I will definitely check that out. And how about as Wehrmacht?
I think that was more of a smooth game. I was able to pressure his cutoff and get the early advantage that I needed to close the game kind of safely. So I think that was I don't want to say easy, but it was definitely more easy than the USF game.
And so after that finished, this was getting on into the evening Sunday night, and there were only 3 players remaining. And did you get an opportunity to watch the end of Vindicare X versus Paul?
I don't know what I was doing at the time, but I wasn't really paying attention to their game.
Really?
So,
You weren't paying
yeah.
attention? Paul had
I-
beaten you. I
I
can't.
know, but I feel like
Okay.
I could beat Paul
Okay,
anyway.
tough
So.
guy. He's like, "Pfft, they're just whatever. When they're done, I'll beat whoever. Who? But your game finished earlier, right? Did you have time to wait for the winner? Because the game 2 of Vindicare and Paul was like a 57-minute game. It was a serious slugfest. And so that gave you some time, yeah? Were you able to maybe get some food or just relax? Or?
Yeah. It was more of a relaxing thing, break there. I was watching the game in and out, tabbing in and out, and I wasn't really paying attention. I knew that the player who would win that would come a bit drained out to my series,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah. And then
It
did
just
you
kinda
already
easy.
know that you were going to be allies first in that series? Because that probably also helped, right? That you were... Were you allies first? I'm getting confused. I don't remember now. Against Vindicare.
I
Because
don't remember.
Vindicare won, and then he came to fight you, and Ciaz and I were worried that, with you being fresh and rejuvenated and Vindicare being drained from that 57-minute epic contest with Paul, I recommend you guys all check it out. Vindicare got a Jagdtiger. This is the game where he probably won himself Sturm Tiger Gaddafi's Coco Jumbo Award for the most non-meta play. This guy made OKV really work, showed us a Jagdtiger, just an amazing game, and defeated Paul. And then after that, heroic effort, that epic game, he had to come face this guy over here. And then Devm, you just 20 minutes, and you polished him off pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I think that the OKW matchup for USF is easier, so in the games that I played against OKW and OCF, it was kind of quick games. It happened against Jove, and it happened again against Vindicare X, because I think that OKW has a hard time holding off USF early on, so you can really pressure their cutoffs, and then get the early M20 and just snowball it from there.
Nice. So that puts you into the finals day, and you were going to be the guy that was going to have to go up against OMGPOP. Had you seen the series? I think we made all of you wait. The OMGPOP versus Aimstrong winners bracket finals was the first series of the day on Sunday. Did you watch it?
I wanted to watch it, but when I got there, the games were already over. So,
Both games were less than 10 minutes long. Ami got really salty, but your clanmate disposed of OMGPOP very quickly. But, we've seen Pop GG quit out of games before, but I knew personally that didn't mean that he was by any means out of OCF. He gave you a hell of a fight on our finals Monday in the losers bracket finals, didn't he?
it was probably the closest match I had in all OCF taking out the finals. That last game was really clutch, the last moment. It kind of happened because I misplayed with my Panzer IV, but...
We'll get to that. Slow down. First of all, you had Sunday night. You knew you were going to face Pop. Did you prepare for him in particular at all? I mean, did you know which factions he would go or what strategies you wanted to use against him?
Not really. I wasn't expecting the Brits though.
Yeah.
But I didn't prepare that much for him because I think that if you play well with a faction, then you can basically adapt to everything that your opponent does. I don't really need that much watching of my opponent to know how to beat him, if that makes sense.
Okay. In the game one, you were USF, and we were all curious because Paul had he had just GG'd super quick out of the winners bracket finals, and we were all curious, like which Paul is going to appear. Is it going to be a Paul that's going to fight, or is it going to be a Paul that's going to like make one mistake at GG? Like nobody knew what to
Pop?
expect. Yeah, Pop. That's right. Pop, not Paul. Pop. Right. And so, but this Pop definitely stood up. That game as USF, it was on Longoskaya, and Pop was in the south, and you were in the north as USF, and you just encircled him. But he always kept a foothold on that ammo point just to the northwest of his base, and he struggled like crazy to withstand all of these massive attacks of yours. You hit him with like the M20, you hit him with the Stuart, you hit him with Shermans. Like you'd like hit him so hard with everything, and then there would just be these huge fights, and all these guys would die. But then he would like try to lick his wounds, come and try to reconnect his ammo and fuel. Go, he would send like a pack out to the corner to cap the fuel, and he would like survive. And then he got a Stug, and then there was a point where he was down to maybe 70 or 80 VPs or something like this, and then it was like you decided that, okay, my attacks, like I can't kill him, and he's strong enough now that if I attack again, I might actually blow this thing. It seemed like after like 2 or 3 balls out, throw everything at him attacks, like in that moment when he was down to 70 or so VPs, it seemed like you kind of backed off. What was going through your mind at that moment? Do you remember this? Is this what you were thinking too? That I better not attack again? I better just hold these VPs?
It kind of camped at the munition point. He had a bunker there and lots of packs, so it would be hard for me to kind of crack his defense. And I knew that he was running out of VPs, and that he would probably do an all-in, since it would be the better option. So I kind of picked Airborne and waited for his assault.
Pick Airborne? How did that help you?
Because the P-47 strike could take his Steggies.
Nice.
And I put my forces in the flanks, waiting for him to come to the middle. The game before that, I mean the early game, it was pretty easy to play off, because I just needed to deny his fuel, and he couldn't attack up. So it was he was relying on Steggies, which in my opinion aren't the best tanks. Sure, they are great against infantry, but if you take up to major, then they aren't going to have that impact you really want. So I denied his fuel throughout the whole game, or almost the whole game.
Yeah, it was either a cutoff or a decap of the fuel. You would hit him at both sides, with or both at once. And
because sometimes you kind of have to draw his forces up to the top and then go to his cutoff. If you think that you can't fight his forces head on, you just kind of push his forces around the map and cap where he isn't.
Beautiful.
And that completely denied him of his fuel, which made the game much easier to evolve, because he could tech up, I could out-tech him, and I had many more units available to me from all the tiers to fight his force with combined arms.
And Ciaz were wondering if perhaps he didn't pull the trigger soon enough, because it's like he stabilized, and there were maybe 30 seconds in there where he was just kind of trying to get ready to go on the center VP, and maybe he should have just gone, because it seems like that waiting time, because when he finally did go, it's like he waited it for a second, but you had guys everywhere, and you were able to complete the drain before the fight was even really over.
I don't think it would have really mattered. Like, if you want, you have to be really careful with Austir when doing those pushes, because against USF you might put yourself in a position where you are flankable, and then it just goes worse for you. So I think he was waiting for the right unit composition, not sure, and I probably didn't feel comfortable going in at that moment, because if I did a flank on him, it would probably lose all his forces.
Well, it was a great game. We were very encouraged to see such a fight. I mean, it seemed one-sided. It seemed like you were in the lead the whole way. I mean, the drain was always against him and in your favor, but it was still a really great game. Just the way he survived each of your brutal attacks. I mean, you are the most aggressive, voracious, fierce USF attacking player in the game, and to watch him survive hit after hit after hit was just quite amazing. If you guys haven't seen that, I recommend you go check it out on YouTube. The whole, every game from finals day was just amazing. The best of 3 with OMGPOP, and then also, of course, the best of 5 that we'll talk about in a second. Now, we move to game 2. Pop goes Brits, you're Wehrmacht, and he counter snipes you 3 times.
Well, that was a big misplay. I misplayed that game a lot. And one of the snipers, I didn't know what happened because I thought I had him in cover. And then I think it's one of those cases where you think there's cover there because, you know, visually there's a bush there. But it didn't really happen. So he kind of got a...
I'm in the up end, caught with the pants down.
He got a free counter snipe there.
Was that like the first one? Or?
No, it was like the third one, I think. And the game was kind of over then, especially when they called in the centaur. So I just threw in the towel.
Okay, so now the question on everybody's minds now is, after Allies win game 1, Allies win game 2, you had choice, you won game 1 with like 500 VPs. Why in the world did you choose to go the faction that you lost with?
Well, okay, so first of all, I think that Austere design-wise is better, it's more solid, because if you get behind as USF, you're not going to rely on the sniper to get you back into the game. So overall, Austere is a more balanced choice in that sense. But not only that, but it was more of, I guess, a pride thing too. I knew my Austere could beat his Brits, so I didn't want to go into the finals losing to OMGPOP's Brits with my Austere, so I took him on with Austere because I knew I could beat him.
Ciez and I were wondering if it might have been a pride thing, because we had seen Cepha doing that. You mentioned Cepha at the very beginning of the show. Well, what was the other 50? Just you thinking that Wehrmacht is just more solid?
Yeah, of a faction-wise, the fact that USF doesn't have a sniper in it, if you get behind, unless you have access to the Pakawitzer, which is kind of the unit that does that job for you in USF, then you don't really have a great way of coming back. Sure, you can try to do good rifle flanks and come back from that, but that's unreliable. You know, if it fails, you're out of the game for sure.
Well, I think that decision of yours speaks volumes to your character and your poise as a gamer and as a competitor, because, you know, I think the gut reaction for most people would be, you know, I just lost with Axis. I shouldn't choose Axis. They just wouldn't even think past that. That big 1 and 0 in their face would just say, oh, I better go back to USF. You know, I better. But you were able to see past that. You were able to see the bigger picture. You didn't let your immediate emotions, like, oh, I just lost, I better not go that faction. You know, like, you were able to see bigger. You were able to analyze your own play and say, hey, I played Wehrmacht and I made mistakes. I can play Wehrmacht much better than that. And if I make my own corrections to my play, then, you know, like, the best chance I have is to go Wehrmacht again. I just think that shows amazing poise. So kudos to you, man. Bravo.
Yeah, plus at the first game I lost as Austere kind of made me, you know, have a good look at how he played as Brits. And gave me a chance to adapt.
Do you think he was trying to simulate Aimstrong's strategy?
Yeah, I think he was going for a kind of an Aimstrong strategy, but he swapped it up a bit with MG spam, because he knew I was going for his cutoff, so he kind of held his own with MGs. It was pretty annoying to fight.
Okay, so we're going into game 3. You know, snipers play a large role in game 3, and it starts getting deep. You have better map control. You know, you don't get counter sniped 3 times in this contest. There is one point where I think you accidentally run out of cover and get sniped or something, and then his or shot down by commandos, and then like his sniper retreated back to his base, and then your 222 chased him into the base and killed him. So although he was able to snipe you that one time, you got revenge immediately with your scout car, and you were able to kill the sniper. And so you guys were kind of always staying close, but your map control was better throughout. Can you just talk a little bit about the early game of Game 3 before we go and look at a clip of the late game?
Sure. I think I controlled the early game of Game 3 much better because I did the different opening of going with more grenadiers and going for the double sniper right from the beginning. I don't think he was expecting that, so I kind of pushed him off the map. And I was trying to snowball the game, and he did get the counter snipe on me, but the fact that I went with the 2-2 opening, it gave me a chance to really pay him back the counter snipe. So in the end, it didn't really go the way he wanted, because he needed a lot more of a win, of a good trade to get back into the map than that was.
Yeah, so the game went on, and you were able to get enough fuel for the Panzer IV, and it came on the map, and then we just have this insane drama between the P4 and the Centaur. And so let's go over to a clip and have a look at that sequence. That was one of the most memorable sequences of the entire
Pop sees it. Gets a nice first shot on
Okay, I'm paused now, and
All right.
let's go have a look at that. We're gonna run the video in 3, 2, 1, go.
Centaur, but he's driving straight into the first AT gun. Pop gets a turret traverse jam.
So
but he
here's
needs the
where I
micro
think I
away
went a
from the
little
turret.
too deep with the AT guns.
Oh no, his other AT gun gets cleared on the right.
What?
The P4's gonna go down though.
Oh my god, the other AT gun got cleared by the infantry?
Yeah, but the P4 goes down.
Oh, and it's abandoned! How about that? It's sitting there abandoned. This 1/6-pounder
The
was
luck
an
factor
absolute
playing a
star.
bit here with
now
the
the
abandoned
Centaur's in a
P4.
bit of danger.
And
Devm
this fight.
remans the 6-pounder. That could be lights out for the Centaur. It's going to be close.
That
folks.
Centaur
This
is
was too
a
close
bit
to
lucky
call.
to not
The
die
Centaur
here too.
clears the
He killed one of
6-pounder
the men
first.
that was
He's
screwing the
gonna
AT gun
survive.
right away, so he couldn't shoot.
He's going to wipe out infantry now.
that's
with
why
the
he didn't
P4 out
shoot
of the
right off the
game.
bat.
He's got a free
Yeah.
path. Man, that mine might come into play. We'll see. We'll see how aggressive Pop wants to be. Perhaps he
And
wants to
here I
remand. Perhaps
knew he was
wants to
going to
repair
get
the
greedy
Centaur.
and try to
Perhaps
go
he
for
wants
the
to go
P4,
capture
so I
the
kind of
P4.
sniped
The
his
snipers
engineer
are there
that was going
defend it. Can he try to hop
get
in?
be a one-man
What's he
squad
gonna do? Is
after
he gonna repair?
capturing
Is
the
he gonna
P4.
fight? What's he gonna do? He hops in. He hopped in.
At
He's
this
running
moment,
away with the P4.
I thought he was gonna get away.
The P4 is heading back towards the base.
Yeah, I went for it here.
He
I had
chases the
to
snipers home.
test my
But the
luck
Ce- but the
to get that
Centaur won't
P4
chase.
down.
It's not gonna get
It would
killed
be
by that
really bad
mine.
if
It
he
looks
had the
like
Centaur and
stolen
P4 repair.
Will not happen. Somehow the
I caught the
222
tail end of the
takes it out,
222 backing
and it
out of
looks
there,
like the
but-
stolen Vickers is also destroyed.
I couldn't believe
Good
you even went
grief.
for that.
Devm dodged a bullet there by
That 222
poking
is a
that
hero, man.
stolen P4
Yeah,
with his
I
222
after the
that
game I
lived.
said to
What
Marcus
just
that's 2-2
smart.
saved the
What
game.
game smart
If he had
to get in there
gotten
and do
away
that?
with that
What
P4,
balls
it
and
would
what
be really
game
bad for
smarts?
me to fight two
Absolutely
tanks, especially the
crazy.
Centaur
So
being
Pop should-
a unit that is overperforming. So
Like I never saw the 222 wrapping around the side. I mean, how do you multitask like that, man?
it's not that hard, Ko2 made it easier
It's
with
not
with
that hard. Oh my god, you're talking
Go
to
to made
mere
it
mortals
easier.
like me and a lot of people in the chat, dude. We've never pulled off a move that cool in our lives, dude. Never. Like what you did there is just total, just amazing stuff. Just wrapping around there and sticking that thing. I mean, did you know that the scout car could kill the P4 on its retreat?
it's one of those feelings that you have while playing the game. I think the 2-2 can penetrate P4 on the rear armor, and I just kind of went for it, and it worked out.
That was amazing. I mean, that was hugely important. Had he repaired it and somehow recaptured the 6-pounders and somehow preserved the Centaur, I mean, those three things happening were very, very, very close to happening. Had those things happened, we might not be sitting here right now.
Well, he still had the time to repair those tanks, and he actually lost the engineer squad capturing the P4. I think in the end it would still take him a lot of time to repair the vehicles.
Yeah.
Maybe he could hold off the VPs until then, but it would be hard for him to get those vehicles repaired on time, especially because I probably was close to getting the Tiger at that point. So yeah, I don't think it would have changed that much.
All right. Devm in command, in complete control. So that puts you into the grand finals. Our interviews here is running about an hour now. Relic's starting to stream. But before we get out of here, let's definitely take a look at the grand finals versus your clanmate, Aimstrong. How about just talking a little bit about you guys as teammates and friends?
All right, so many people think that we practice together, but that doesn't really happen. We just kind of share thoughts on strategies and how, for example, if I wanted to say play Brits now, I could ask Aimstrong, share the thoughts behind what we do on the factions.
What'd you call it?
What?
Strongino? What?
No. I said that we share the thoughts of the.
I thought you had a nickname for him.
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
So it's kind of easier for us to get good at a faction if you have the help of another top player. For example, when I came back to COH2, I only played USF, and I had a really hard time getting my Austere going. So I kind of depended on Aimstrong there to get some tips on how to, play Austere better. So I didn't lose right away on the early game. So we kind of share strategies in that sense, but we don't like playing against each other for the reason of getting too adapted to each other, and that we could get demoralized, by losing to the other before the finals.
That's interesting. And, I mean, you put him out of SNF4, so you guys are, you're friends, but you're also rivals.
Yeah, I think it was in Vico, it was rivalry, but in COH2 we just kind of want to show that we want to show that COH2 needs the improvement in the sense that we don't think that the game has a high skill ceiling as Vico had, Not to trash talk here COH2 pros or anything, but we kind of wanted to show that we could effectively come in and sweep the competition.
Yeah, well, but you guys took apart the game together, and I mean you're both strong strategists, and it is a strategy game, and it seems like you two took it to pieces. And I'm just curious, the one major difference between you as players is that he rocked Brits throughout his allies games, and you rocked USF throughout your allies games. And
right.
What's up with that? Is that like division of labor, or why was that?
Well, he kind of gave up on USF, I mean, after the Rifle Company ban. So he jumped both, on USF, and he went for the Brits.
But he'd also been playing a lot of Brits in Automatch. But that could have been just a process of learning the faction. Like I watched him kill lots of stuff with centaurs. I even made a tweet before the main event of a centaur, like saying, "Will we see the centaur kick the hell out of OCF?" And that was pretty much with a screenshot of Aimstrong. And so I saw him doing it. But that didn't mean necessarily that he was going to do it in the tournament, and I think maybe we were all kind of surprised that he went Brits exclusively.
Yeah, there's also another factor that I think he wanted to use, which is the Brits were a new faction, and no one knew how to play against them very well. So he kind of took that advantage into OCF, and I think it went pretty well for him.
Yes, it did. All right, so game one, Arnhem. You're Wehrmacht, and you pretty much shut down his Brits, but it took a long time. First of all, what do you think of the new map, Arnhem Checkpoint?
I think it's very well designed. I like it. It's definitely better than a lot of the maps you have on the map pool. If we had more of these maps, I think we'd see a lot more diversity in the gameplay in tourneys. So, yeah.
I'm a big fan too, and now that we've got so many good 1v1 maps, I mean the 7 that we picked for the map pool for OCF are so good. It's like when I see 1v1 players have to play on like Road to Kharkov or something, or Minsk in 1v1 Automatch, I'm just like, oh god, I want to change the channel on the stream. It's like we've got such better quality maps. I would not cry a tear if those other ones just got chucked, if we never had to see them again. So I think a lot of what characterizes the Ver versus Brit matchup is the sniper counter sniper wars. Can you talk a little bit about the subtle differences between the Brit sniper and the Wehrmacht sniper?
I think that overall, since that nerf on the austere sniper, I think that the Brit sniper is better. I think that you need kind of to wait for the 2-2-2 to come onto the field before you have an advantage on the matchup. You are really dependent on the 2-2-2 to get the counter snipe, and until then, if he gets to 2, it's really hard for you to do anything after. But if you, in that window of time that you get the 2 from tier 2, if you can get a really big advantage off of it, and if you play well with it, you can snowball the game to victory really soon into the game. And
that's kind of what happened in game 1 too. That, I mean, your scout car kind of approached around the right-hand side of the map and tried to chase off some harassers, but then when it came back to the middle of the map, you caught Aimstrong's sniper kind of squished up against the right side of Von Ivan's church. And
yeah.
I mean, did he make a mistake there? Should he have gotten in the church, or what should he have done? Because do you think you just kind of had him checkmated there? Because basically that little battle between the Brit sniper and your scout car, it went a long time. I mean, it lasted for many seconds, you know, and then it lasted long enough for you to bring your sniper up from the rear and actually counter snipe. You know, you shot his sniper in the head. When I was watching it, I thought the 2-2 did it, but Sia's, you know, corrected me in saying that you actually brought your sniper up and just shot him.
I think that it was the right call to put the sniper where he did, to get the shots off on the 2-2, because the Brit sniper can actually deal significant damage to it. And I just think that he should have then after soft retreated the sniper a bit. I don't think he was expecting me to
soft retreat where your scout car was behind him.
Yeah, but the the scout car didn't have enough damage to get the sniper. It was already coming down in HP. It was pretty low, and it had the engine damage, I'm pretty sure. So I couldn't really chase him, and he for sure that he should be expecting my sniper to come in there if he's uncloaked. Yeah. So I think he kind of was he was kind of expecting that I didn't do the decision to bring my sniper, and it would definitely snowball the game from there for him if I had lost my 2-2 and not traded for the sniper. I think he got kind of ballsy there. That's
greedy,
what I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, greedy.
Okay, so you got that counter snipe, and then the game lasted quite some time, and we saw Aimstrong teach us how to use commandos to kill snipers. Did you expect that? Did you know that he had these great tactics to use commandos against snipers? Because it seems like he just ate you up in situations where you were not ready for it at all.
I had seen him play a bit before, but I definitely hadn't played against commandos myself, and that was the first time. So I wasn't really used to play against the commandos, and especially use them really well. He kind of baited my snipers into going to red cover, so we could have easy pickoffs. And
he
if
was
I
like
wasn't,
a ninja, though. He was able to sneak up on you and close the distance, and then just shoot you in the face. Like twice he did that. Once on the left-hand side, where he just went right past some engineers of yours. I don't know how they stayed cloaked. Do you remember that?
Yeah, those engineers were actually there to do that job, but they
to scout, really, and then they failed miserably. Like, right? What? How did they not see those commandos? That still mystifies me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was expecting the commandos to be a bit slower, and they kind of sneaked past my pioneer.
And then the other time was in the center of town. I think you had a sniper hanging out by like Love Nest's house, and the commandos just came dashing out from like where the well is by the center of VP.
Threw a grenade.
Yeah. Threw a grenade to kill the first one, and then the second one, I think you were nervous or something, because I think probably the right play to save the second one was to soft retreat to the east, but you just hard retreated, like almost like a gut instinct.
Well, I think
and you retreated right into their main gut, like into their small arms fire, and they shot you down on retreat.
That was kind of because he had an MG firing, and the MG pinned my snipers or had them suppressed. So they took so much time to get into the building that was behind them that he actually got them. And the second sniper, I don't think it would have mattered if I had retreated or stayed into the field because he could just
He was
run
dead.
him over with commandos. Yeah, the MG really got the snipers basically.
So that kept Aimstrong in the mid game for quite some time. But by the time you built up a strong armor force with your Stug and your Tiger, by then you had pretty much pushed him back into his base, and then it was just a matter of like kiting 6-pounders and putting on the base
Yeah.
pressure. Do you have any tips for players about like microing the Stug and the Tiger? Because they seem to be like big, slow, chunky beasts.
Yeah, they are, but I think the biggest mistake people do with them is going with them unsupported. Like, they use them like this movable bunker instead of using them as the support for your main force. So you kind of many times I see players losing them because they
Yeah.
get overwhelmed by the troops of the other player and can't really defend the Tiger or whatever big
They
tank.
they get tunnel vision, right? They just start
Yeah.
microing the Tiger, and then not all their other units. And really, it's only strongest when the other units are working in combination.
Yeah, which
with
is
it.
why I think that the Lightning Doctrine, the one with the close air support, is really good because that ability really supports well the Tiger, especially when you are playing against a USF player that spams M10s and wants to flank your Tiger. The ability is really useful to turn the fight around when he goes all in.
Yeah. Cool tips, cool tips. On to game 2. This is one of the games in the tournament where your USF play got totally shut down. Aimstrong's Wehrmacht play was impeccable. His MG positioning in the center of Arnhem was just on point. Now, do you think that was because you did some things wrong or didn't prepare, didn't think it through enough, or do you think that he just predicted you perfectly? And I mean, what happened in game 2?
It was both. He played well, and I kind of misplayed my cap order. I usually go to the right side with the engineer to get the fuel, so I can get the M20 out. And I didn't do that. I went for his cutoff instead, and it went badly. So I kind of lost on the two fronts there, and I couldn't get the M20 out, and I didn't get a significant advantage or any advantage at all from the cutoff move. So yeah. That kind of snowballed the game. Like I said, since USF has no access to the sniper early game, if you get behind and on a map such as Arnhem, which is pretty easy to cut off, then you probably lost the game from the beginning.
Yeah, he seemed to cruise in that game too. So it was 1-1 with 2 Wehrmacht victories after the first 2 games, and then you guys moved over to Samoski Winter. What do you think of Samoski Winter as a map now that most of the deep snow has been removed?
I think it's definitely better. It was super annoying to go around the deep snow there.
Yeah.
But it's still not my preferable map. I don't know. I like the fact that ice on the lakes really messes up with the. I don't know if it's the pathfinding of the vehicles. It really annoys me. It drives me insane when my vehicle gets there and then it doesn't go out because it's kind of sliding in the ice.
The wheels are spinning.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. Devm's like, move. That game 3, I think he was Brits, and he just does a really good job sort of keeping you off the map, and his sniper lives a long time. He's pretty successful, and his Centaur was able to kind of keep you pinned in, and that led to an Allied victory.
Okay, in that game, I played very well in the early game, early to mid game too, and then I kind of misplayed in like a 30-second window that lost me the game. I was trying to get the tier 3 up on the base, and I misclicked, and I actually built 2 tier 2s. I don't know if
Oh
you
my god, I
noticed
heard
that.
about this. I never noticed it during the game. I only heard about it later. It's pretty
Yeah,
unbelievable. That's like tournament pressure getting to you, right?
I don't know. I don't think it was pressure. It was definitely a misclick. But
Just a simple accident.
yeah, and while I was doing it, I then noticed that I had 2 tier 2s and I had to build tier 3 on that moment. So I went to base again to build tier 3. And while I was doing that again, my sniper kind of took one more shot than he should, and he got counter sniped. So I kind of, in the same moment, lost my sniper and built a useless building while dealing my tier 3.
Rough.
And that kind of swung the game because I think I had him in a good spot.
So, do you think the Centaur is OP?
Yeah, I think it's stronger than it should be.
Okay.
No, it's wrong when a tank goes into the AT guns and clears them,
Yeah.
like the crocodile of the Brits.
Yeah. Both of those units need some looking at, to put it mildly. So, game 4, you kind of had your back up against the wall. It was your USF, though, and you really shined. From the very, very start, the way I obsed it, I don't know if you watched the vids back or anything, but the way I obsed it was I put on the Fog of War and I followed Aimstrong's MG team as it tried to navigate the center of Samosky, and all of us were just, it was so quiet, man. It was, and we didn't know where any of your units were, and it was so quiet, and it was quiet for just a few seconds too long. And then suddenly, everything comes from everywhere. You know, like rear echelon are coming from the right-hand side, moving in the cover. You got a new rifle squad coming up from the base, going into the cover behind the graveyard. You got this rifle squad coming out from the top. Where did they come from? Was that the plan from the beginning, to just go up there and kind of stay in the Fog of War and then come into the center? Did you know that he would have an MG there at that time?
Well, it has to do with the cap order I do. I like to cap the flanks of the map, and if he does go for the middle, then I kind of have the better position on him to get him off the middle. And if he goes to the sides of the map, then it's kind of the same thing, because I kind of picture the map in 3 sections, which is the right flank, left flank, and the middle flank.
All maps or just Samosky?
Pretty much all maps. There are some
Okay.
exceptions that those maps that are badly designed.
Okay.
But pretty much every map has that kind of thing going on, and I kind of like to put the rifles on positions that I know that if my opponent, I don't necessarily need to go to the middle to push my opponent off, because if he's smart, he knows that I have the position on him to flank him, which is why it was hard for me. And I don't know if you remember from Vico, Alias, and Symbiosis.
Of course.
They kind of had this smart play about them. So it's hard for. So as soon as you get that position on the rifleman on the flanks, it's pretty easy to go down into the middle and take it back. And basically, I got hold of both eye fuels, which allowed me for a very fast M20, and I pushed him off the middle of the map. And that engagement there, pretty much, I don't want to say that won the game, but
It
it
was
was
a hell of a
pretty
nice
significant.
start.
Yeah.
Chasing
to the
off
win.
his first MG is a hell of a nice start. That got the ball rolling, and you know, with your aggressiveness with USF, you were always able to keep the pressure on, and then you were able to tech. And I have a clip here where, by this point, it's towards the end of the game. You've got an M20, you've got a Stuart, and then just in this moment when you guys are like fighting over this abandoned pack, you have a Wolverine come raging onto the field.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at this clip. We're gonna start it right now.
And now everybody's going for it. It's a fight for the team weapon.
Can you wait a second? What's your?
Okay, when there's only 3 guys, you don't want to.
Sure. I'm at 1346 on the YouTube video.
All right, you can go.
Okay,
Get on
going.
because you'll lose the squad. Somehow this 50 cal still in the game. Look at all the
Whoa,
vent popping.
M10, where did that come from?
Yeah, hello. And suddenly, the Stug is in full retreat mode, and the M10 is in full chase tank destroy mode. Oh, he shoots into the VP flagpole, it looked like there, but this might do it kablooey. The top gunner is
Yeah, the game
catapulted
was
out of the
pretty much
Stug.
over
It
here.
falls, and this could be
Yeah,
the GG
it's so
push.
fun to watch.
How much longer before Aimstrong raises the white flag?
I think in this situation, the game is lost. He needs to collect himself, collect his thoughts, accept that the ace game is going to happen, preserve his energy. Maybe I don't know, maybe he's trying to wear his opponent out.
We're
But-
gonna see an ace game. We're
Yeah,
gonna see
no
an ace
doubt.
game.
Game 5
OCF's
is
going to
coming.
game 5, baby. The Americans are in your
And
base,
this assault
killing
pretty
your
much
man.
because he dispositioned the
make
pack on the
packs?
middle, so
Yeah.
allowed me to go into his base.
That
This
security pack
one
goes down.
Is over,
Very
baby.
much. Very fragile.
The refrigerator door is closed and the butter's getting cold.
That's I can't take credit for the refrigerator door quote. That's That's Chick Hearn, the legendary commentator for the Lakers basketball. So you stayed in his base to the very end of that, clearing new packs that came on, and that forced the final game. Now, Aimstrong had choice, and it was going to be on Longroskaya, and he chose Brits. What was your game plan?
Well, I knew that he was going for Brit since it worked so well for him. I think that since I played OMGPOP before, I was pretty comfortable. Plus, I beat him in game 1, and I knew that the fact that I lost in game 2 was kind of a misplay, losing the sniper and building 2 tier 2s. So I wasn't really afraid of facing his Brits on Longroskaya. I was pretty confident, actually. I think that played a lot into the game.
Maybe he should have chosen Wehrmacht?
I don't know. I think that his Austere is better than his Brits. Honestly, I think that his Brits kind of showed up because of the Centaur. Which obviously I give him credit for, because I don't think anyone kind of thought out of going the Centaur before OCF and before this, so Aimstrong play with it. But if I was him, I'd probably go Austere. He knows the map from Vico. It's
I wonder if he regrets that. Did you talk to him after? No.
Well, I talked to him, but I didn't ask him if you
Not about that particular point.
Yeah, not that question.
So you were pretty much leading most of this. I mean, how were you able to, like, what's your approach when fighting Brits? I mean, if, like, Tommies and cover are just badass, when you see them, do you just avoid them, or how do you make sure you win engagements against Tommies early?
Yeah, I avoid the Tommies if my MG isn't there. Otherwise, I fight them. The problem is that on Longroskaya, you can just put an M. The problem for Brits, I mean, is that if you move the MG to the right side to get an all of your fuel, you kind of leave your cutoff exposed. So I kind of use that against him. I think that if you want to play well against Brits, you need to avoid the Tommies unless your Grands are supported by either the MG or the Sniper, because they can do serious damage to you.
Guys listening up in chat, pro tips right here. How to fight Brits in the early game. Your map control was fantastic, but somehow, did you know that there was a point when you were practically surrounding his base where Aimstrong had a larger pop cap than you? Were you aware of that he had such an army left?
I think, I'm not sure if it was in that game that I lost a lot of units, so I was pretty sure that that he was ahead of me in terms of army. But actually transitioning that advantage into the map, it's hard when you pressure your opponent so much. The fact that I was being so aggressive on him, even if you had all those units, if you have the right composition with the snipers and all, he's always going to be afraid to come back into the map, no matter how many units he has, unless he has obviously a huge amount compared to you. So I think that as soon as I got him into his base, it's pretty easy for Austere to kind of take the win from there.
You had him in such a fuel stranglehold that you had a P4 out before he was able to even get a Centaur, and he never got a Centaur in that game 5. He had to go for commandos to try to deal with your snipers, and he made a bit of an attempt with a couple AT guns to hold his base, but once he tried to move the 2 AT guns out, that's when your second P4 hit, and that's when he just jumped all over him.
It's definitely hard to... That's the main objective you should have as Austere against Brits, is to deny that field, because their early game really isn't that good. So there are many maps where you can abuse that and get the P4 at the same time as a Centaur, which is what you really want, because anything that your tier 2 brings up really doesn't go up to par with the Centaur.
No.
The Centaur just cleans out.
It was fun to watch you, though. Your build orders were so tight, and you knew exactly what unit you needed for the situation. You know, like as soon as you had the fuel and the manpower for the P4, it was like bang! You click the button on the exact moment, and out that thing came. And just as a part of celebrating your victory, let's go and watch that final push with the 2 P4s against his 2 6-pounders as he's trying to claw back into the map and stop the drain. Let's go have a look at that. I'm going to start it right now.
Back to the base. Devm's all over that sniper. A shot from the main gun misses. Sniper takes about 50% health. The AT guns are trying to point, but look at
So yeah, the
Devm
two
kite these
P4s
things,
are
man.
really important.
Look at
like
him
his AT
kite.
guns.
Okay, he gets one shot in. The other 6-pounder is just trying to set up, and when Devm floods all of his infantry forward, this could be the knockout punch, ladies and gentlemen. You could be watching it right here. These Panzer Grenadiers are all over the 6-pounder. Both AT guns are down. Devm looking strong. Little Sniper trying to use his critical shot. Aimstrong trying to reman AT guns. Cleared again. The
I knew it
manpower
was GG when the
bleed.
second one fell.
The VP bleed. It's
Yeah,
looking bad
you
for
can
Brits, ladies
easily
and
overwhelm
gentlemen.
the Brits because they lack the AT
Aimstrong
grenades,
could be
so
on the
if you
canvas.
flank
He
the AT
could be
guns,
out
it's
for
hard
the
for
count.
them
The
to do anything.
sniper falls.
And actually here I
I
got
don't
this
know what
sniper
the
and I
hell
didn't
killed
even
that
notice. That's
P4.
kind of lucky, which is
It was
why
a
my
new
sniper
6-pounder that Aimstrong
after
just
is
brought in. He canceled
on
his
hold
text to pick
fire.
up another 6-pounder.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Just kind of
wipe
a lucky
after
hit of the
wipe
P4.
After wipe after wipe.
Let's
Oh,
fast forward
this
to
new
the end of this
6-pounder.
game just to get that last
Can you
GG
imagine
call
if he
in.
killed
I'm going to
both
go
P4s? That'd
to
be
28
impressive. But
minutes
these guys are
and
scrambling. There's
18.
two free
Let's see,
6-pounders
28, 28. Here we go.
14,
20.
13,
Yeah, and then at
All right.
23, it'll go
12,
to
11,
11.
10,
Yeah, you're right.
9,
Counting down the
8,
Vimps.
7, 6. Enemy
Five,
could taste defeat.
four,
5, 4.
So yeah, my sniper is on hold fire there because I thought he still had his sniper.
He has-
GG! Well played, Devm. You are our 2015 Operation Champion Charlie Fox Champion of the World. Well
Down
played,
by
Devm.
2 games, 2-1, and then comes back and wins the whole series.
All right. With that, I think we've covered Operation Charlie Fox. Devm, just being able to pick your brain as we go through those games has been so insightful. I hope everybody here has learned some things. I've definitely learned a trick or two. Just to wrap it all up now, you are the proud owner of a castle on a hill in Ami's fantasy Arnhem checkpoint world. Will you be a benevolent ruler?
No, not really.
No.
Since you banned Rifle Company, I think I have the right to.
You're gonna rule with an iron fist.
Yeah.
Well, you can start ruling tomorrow in Romeo's Star-Crossed Cup. That'll be fun to watch.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Rock on. You're a strategist on Kotu.org now. What do you got coming for us?
Pretty sure you already know, but for the rest of the people out there, I'm currently writing an USF guide, which I hope will be pretty insightful on how I play with them.
Nice. I'm sure many aspiring players will want to learn from the best. That'll be good. Now, finally, to wrap it all up, I got to throw some quick fire questions at you, okay? You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, what's your favorite food?
I'm going to say something like meatballs with spaghetti. I'm a simple man with simple tastes.
Spaghetti. That's my favorite food too, man. What's your favorite movie?
It's kind of an odd one, but The Dark Knight.
Which one? The first one? whole
There's
series.
only one, The Batman, The Dark Knight.
What? There were 3. What are you talking about?
No, there's only one Dark Knight, which was the one with the Joker in it.
The new ones with Christian Bale by Chris Nolan.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But there were, it was a trilogy. There were 2 more after that. All right, the first
Yeah, I know, but
the first one was the best one, where he gets all like freaky and he's under the spell of the Sandman or whatever that guy's called. Who's the nightmare guy? He has these nightmares and he's running around all drugged up at the end of it. It's good.
I don't really remember the names
Scarecrow.
of the characters.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, Scarecrow, that's right.
I should know. My son and I watch Batman constantly. He's a big fan. We got Lego Batman. We watched every different cartoon. All right, a couple Kotu ones. What's your favorite Kotu map? We did that already. Angeville. Who's your favorite Kotu commander?
Yeah. Kotu Commander, I think it's the Lightning Doctrine from Austria.
Okay, I would have thought it said Rifle Company, but a curveball, Lightning War. There are 2. There's one commander called Lightning War and another one called Blitzkrieg.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And
I don't.
And that in German, those translate to the exact same thing. Lightning War translated in German is Blitzkrieg. So it's like they're both called Blitzkrieg. It's just, anyway, it's pretty confusing. Favorite KOTU unit?
I think the Tiger. I really like the Tiger.
All right, man. That was always my favorite tank from the whole history. I got my model in the background somewhere. Favorite KOTU faction?
USF.
Yeah, there it is. America. All right. Now, away from the game, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite League of Legends hero?
Irelia. Not sure if you know the champion or if you play Hello.
I have no idea what you just said. What is your favorite real sport? As in not esport.
Football.
And then what's your favorite football club?
Porto. I'm not sure if in English, yeah. They recently played against Chelsea. I'm sure you know the club.
Are they from... Yeah, I know Chelsea. But is Porto from Portugal?
Yes.
Do they play in Lisbon, or where do they play?
You mean the city they play in? They play in Oporto, which is their city.
I've never been to Portugal. I would love to go. Could I visit you if I came?
Sure, I guess.
Awesome. Okay, one last question. Who's going to win the NLDS, Dodgers or Mets?
I have no idea. I don't know any of those teams. But I'm going to say Dodgers because they sound cooler.
Yes! All right, you got the right answer. Let's go Dodgers. That's American baseball. It starts tonight. I'm a big fan. Anyway, finally, before we let you go, this has been so much fun, really. I've really enjoyed this evening. Do you have any shout-outs before we get out of here?
I have a shout out to Marcus, which kind of reintroduced me to COH2 after the big patch came. And to Aimstrong, which without him I probably wouldn't get to the finals because he had insightful knowledge on how to play Austrian.
All right, nice. Marco and our favorite Dane, Simon. Excellent. Then I think we are finished with this interview. Once again, on behalf of all of the fans and, of course, the contributors of Operation Charlie Fox and our staff at KOTU.org, congratulations, Devm, man. You put on a hell of a show. I think you earned it. You really, we did some stats. You played in the most games in OCF. I think you played in 23 games.
Yeah, that should be about right with the losers bracket.
and all that mattered was the last one. You won the last one, and you were the champ. So you're the guy to beat now, and I'm sure everybody's going to be gunning for you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. See, Handsy's there, Loveness is there. Relic's streaming right now, so I'm going to pass the ball over to them. You can check out some early patch notes, and look for Devm's games tomorrow in the Starcross Cup. Thank you, Devm. Thank you, viewers, everyone.
No problem.
We got more
Thanks for
OCF
watching.
stuff coming. We got fan fiction still out there, and we're going to announce the winners of the fan art competition very soon. So keep an eye on the KOTU.org portal, and we will see you next time. Guys, I'm Ami Polizei Funk. Have a great night. Ciao.
See ya.